Welcome back, guys. This is our 2012 Town & Country, and we've been having this problem where the fuel pump doesn't shut off with the car. And we have to go to the fuse box and pull out the fuse and put it back in. Now it's also... No, it stopped. That doesn't usually happen. Now it's also cranking and cranking and cranking and not starting. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 times to get it to start. So we can't have that. So we're going to go under the engine and show you what the problem is. This is a problem with a lot of Chrysler vehicles. If you have this setup, then hopefully this will work for you. The overall issue here is with the totally integrated power module, the TIPM, TIPM, which you will hear if you're investigating what is wrong with these systems. It involves the fuel pump relay, which is integrated into this box. This is the TIPM, and we're not going to go and tear it apart and do electrical work. We're going to be dealing with this one fuse right here. This is the one we pull out to make our fuse or our fuel pump stop. And then this one is where we're going to actually get power from instead. And then this gets in the way sometimes, so you might have to pull that out. So this is the area we're at. I ordered this part from verticalvisions.com. And I found them on YouTube. So some other guys that did this process actually led me to them. And they sell a couple different units, a temporary one, and this one is permanent. So it comes with a circuit board and everything. You can pause this to read where you can read over the instructions. I'm sure yours would come with this whole paper. But it talks about what the issue is. Either the fuel pump's not working or is staying on when you turn the vehicle off, or it's just not starting at all. So here is our diagram of the TIPM. There's your little fuse puller. It's hard to get in there and get it. This is the actual part that we're installing. And then here's the part. Everything came nice and clean and labeled. It's pretty amazing. So, like I said, pause this, you can zoom in, read what you need to read. I'm not an expert on this, but I know quite a bit about solving issues. That's what we do. So follow along with my little pointer finger. And this might get in the way, like I said, so you have to make sure that's pushed down. Apparently that tells you that there's an issue in your fuse box or that there's a loose fuse. But like I said, just read over this. Basically, you'd have to tear out the whole box and unsolder a fuel pump relay, solder in a new one. And if you want to replace the box with a new one, it's like $1,300. And yeah, we're not going to do that. This part cost me something in the range of $60 when I purchased it in 2022. We actually bought it when we were starting to have issues. And then it took about a year till it started giving us the cranking issue that we weren't starting. So it was time to install it. We just carried it with us in case we ever needed it. And here we go. I guess there's the cheaper version. This thing's for testing. We don't need to do that. I just trust that this is going to work. So this is all the instructions you need. It's pretty simple install. Anyone can do it, really. This shows you how to test things if you want to. I'm not going to do that. But here you go again. If you want to read over this stuff, just pause it, zoom in. Or go to the guy's website. His name is Josh, is it? Jason. Go to his website. Read everything on his website. It makes you feel good. You can tell this is quality stuff. And this is all the things that, frequently asked questions. And if it's not working, this is what you'll look at. If there's a no fuse thing, that's where that little blue thing comes into effect. The thing he has highlighted in blue. So anyway, I'm doing this so you can read over what you want, pause it. We're not really doing anything. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee if it's not working. But you can contact them via email or telephone. So, quality business. I've heard people have talked to him. Quality guy. I don't know him, but if his part works for me, I'm going to tell you guys about it. I was very impressed with the way this was designed, and looking forward to seeing if it works for us. The problems have been intermittent. Sometimes they work, sometimes everything's fine. That's why we're going to install this, because you can't just one day be stranded somewhere and your vehicle not start. So fuel pump relay, typically you just pull it out, put a new one in. You can't do that here. All right, on to the install. Okay, pretty simple. I kind of make it more difficult. If you can get this thing in there to pull these out, fine. Or just grab a flat blade screwdriver and carefully pry it up. That's what I typically do, or needle nose pliers. Because you got to get in around these other guys, and it's not really easy with this. I actually do end up doing it here, which is kind of a miracle. We're going to use this in the board. Make sure that it's a good fuse. You might want to test that while it's out. Just make sure it's just not a bad fuse for you. And then we got to pull out this other one. M37. It's a red 10. The first one's a yellow 20. Get that sucker out. It's really only a 5-minute install. Pretty easy. Once you get these guys out, that's the hard part. And then here, if this gets in the way, make sure it's pushed down. There's a better view of it. So I got that one out, and I got this one out. Then the board is designed to slide right down in there. See, we use the same fuses. Everything is basically factory, just bypassing what's not working in the box. That's all we gotta do. Make sure you slide them in the right spots. Just like you're installing it back in the system, you're putting it in this instead. There we are, all set up. Everything looks good. Make sure it's all pushed down and contacting. And then you just kind of wiggle this in, set it down, and again, same as the fuses, just kind of carefully push this down, make sure it's firm and sits down in the way it needs to. And that is pretty much it. Easiest job I've ever done. And then make sure the lid closes correctly. Make sure everything's in place correctly. That's it. Make sure that's closed so you're not getting moisture in there. And that's the whole thing. That's the $1,200 unit. Could be more now. I don't even know. I did not look into replacing that. There we go. Vertical Visions, guys. www.verticalvisions.com. And then we're going to see if this thing starts. Other than the fuel pump running with the car off, I haven't been able to show you this thing not working. So, like I said, it's intermittent. See if she starts. She was just not starting. Like I said, you'd have to turn it off. Try again. It would just crank and not kick over like it wasn't getting fuel. So I'll have to go and get back with you in a couple weeks. Make sure I haven't had any other issues. Fuel pump's not running. And she started up just fine. Seems like we're good to go. Got to do an oil change. Yep. All right, guys. It's been about 3 weeks, and we have had not a single issue. And my wife even thinks the car is running smoother now, so maybe that's an effect too. That the fuel pump relay was not giving enough fuel. It wasn't running great on idle. Oil change is due. Got to do that next. And the check engine light is on for a thermostat. Thermostat's not getting hot enough. And that is probably why we're not getting the best gas mileage. So I'll do a video on the thermostat. I'll see you guys on the next one. I do have a video changing the oil, so if you need to check that out, go for it. Thanks, guys. See you later.